I'm standing up and I'm telling you, I am Warhol. I am the #1 most impact.
Yo, Kudos, what the fuck's up, bro?
What's up, man?
Thanks for coming through, man.
Thanks for having me.
No worries. Yeah, just for context, I'm about to fly. I'm about to have a farewell party tomorrow night, and then I'm about to fly back to New Zealand. I've been in Melbourne for like 3 years, and this has been like the last project I've wanted to get off, just to interview and talk to a bunch of artists that I appreciate and kind of look up to. And yeah, you're definitely on top of my list, man, so I'm real stoked that you could come through.
Cheers, man. Thanks for having me.
All good,
this
man.
Is cool. Is my mic? Oh, yeah. Cool. Right. I'll pull this over here.
Yeah, try and get it nice and close.
Yeah, like that. There we go.
Yeah, nice. Maybe just crank it higher.
About there.
Sweet spot.
Sweet.
Yeah, so what were you saying about driving over here?
Oh, yeah, on my way here, I fucking nearly ran a red light. I didn't actually do it, but I was pretty close, and now I can't get out of my head. And we were just talking about not being able to let things go, because now I'm thinking about it fucking nonstop. Just context, it's my first day driving. It's my first day driving on my own ever, because I got my license today, so I'm a bit nervous driving around. It's fucking weird. Anyway, yeah, and I guess I was saying, I can't help but punish myself a lot. And you were saying, is that part of being an artist?
Mm.
And, yeah, I don't know, maybe. I think being neurotic is quite common with artists, especially comedians. But, because I think neuroticism comes with, an attention to detail. It comes with, an obsessiveness.
Mm.
Yeah, and I was reading about neuroticism once, and how it is also a bit of a superpower, and maybe that comes across with the attention to detail with music. Yeah, and making beats and writing. But it also keeps me from saying the things I really want to say sometimes. So, yeah.
For overthinking the consequences?
Yeah. Yeah. But I've come up with some fictional characters now. So I've decided they're going to say them for me.
Right. Yeah, that's it, right?
And we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
People get mad at fictional characters. Oh my God, I can't believe you said that. Well, I mean, I didn't. It's a fictional character. Do you get mad at movie characters that say, I can't believe you fucking murdered that person. What the fuck?
Yeah, that's so immoral.
Fuck, that's horrible. You murdered that person. Well, he didn't really murder him. It's a fictional character.
It's all just words.
Well, the question is, are we all just fictional characters?
Yeah.
And if we are, who do you want to be today?
Yeah.
Are you who you want to be today?
I think so. I'm definitely getting closer and closer to that person. I think I'm on the path. I think I'm on the right path. How about yourself?
Nah.
Why?
I just punish myself too much. I get really fucking hung up in my head with anxiety and all sorts of things. I'd play loops in my head of all sorts of negative shit, and it's fucking difficult, man. It's really hard, and you don't know when it's coming. It just comes up like a rash on your skin, and then yeah. And if I had a shit life, it'd be fucking I feel like if I had a shitty life, it would be a bit easier, because then I could at least blame it on the shitty life. But I've got a really, really exceptionally blessed life. So when I'm depressed and I'm surrounded by really wonderful people, and I've got a great job and a great girlfriend, a great family, and all these things, it just makes no sense, and it can be very confusing and quite painful just to wake up majority mornings, start thinking about negative shit, and then just think about topping yourself. That's a bit extreme. I don't really think about that anymore, but I have got to those points where you're so down and you're so anxious. Yeah, I'm at least my partner's really good. I can say to her, I'm feeling anxious, and she understands how that feels and says, oh, what about? And we can talk about it. So I'm at least around people I can talk about it. It was worse when I didn't used to talk about it, and it was really bad then.
Yeah, I feel you. Yeah, that can be it can feed into itself, right? If you're I have no reason to feel like this. So you this can be a sense of shame or something, around having too much privilege to be depressed or something. But, no one is immune to functions of the brain. Do you know what I mean? No amount of wealth is going to insulate someone from depression.
Well, I think I don't really get as much shame with it as I get just fuck, I'm missing out. This is all so good. you know? It's so, like, yeah, I just feel like I'm missing out on my own life sometimes because I'll just be so fucking anxious, you know? Yeah.
I feel you.
But yeah, I don't really get as much shame. I think everyone has the right to have their feelings. I mean, you know what I mean? It's the whole like, oh, what do you have to be sad about? Other people have it worse. There's always someone who's got it better or worse. It just is what it is. It's a mixed bag.
Yeah, shit's relative, right?
I don't think I should be sad either. Great, fucking click my finger. Oh, sorry. Oh, was I being anxious again? My mistake. I'll stop it. You know, when people say, why don't you just not be anxious?
Yeah.
Which is funny because I think it is that simple, but it doesn't feel that simple. So, I don't know.
Like that is the solution, but the way to do that is the steps that, like, the steps that we have to figure out.
Yeah,
like figuring out how to get there is the thing.
Yeah, and I always, me and my partner, we've got this thing we always say to each other when we're having a bad day. Is just say, hey, just remember it's just a moment. Because I think that's the worst part of those feelings. They feel forever, and it's just good to remember, hey, it's just a moment.
Yeah, man.
But the hard thing about it being a moment is the good times are a moment too.
Yeah.
Is when I'm good, I'm like, I figured it out. Just go to the gym every day. Just like drink lots of water, do yoga. But then like 2 months later, it's like, oh, I'm fucked again.
Do you know the term equanimity?
No.
It's like, now I'm going to forget how to define it, but it's like not holding on to the good or the bad, just accepting everything as a passing moment. Being equanimous is to just like let things flow.
Equanimous.
Like not hold on, like let the good happen and let it pass, and let the bad happen and let it pass.
Don't try to clutch onto either of it.
Because it's both like the polarities, you know, playing into either polarity is going to feed the other.
Yeah. Fuck. That's deep.
But you're into meditation, eh?
Yeah, I've done it for like more than half my life, but it is something that I need. Meditation's one of those things that I go in and out of doing and having a discipline to do regularly. And when I do it, I'm like a preachy vegan. I'm like, everyone should do this.
Meditate,
I feel
bro.
so good. But then I'll stop doing it. Like I haven't done it now for, I don't know, a year. Like it's been about a year since I've been doing it regularly. But yeah, meditation's the truth. I think it's great.
How did you get into meditation?
My mum took me to a meditation workshop. It was like a 3-day like workshop that we went to in Montville, just like out in the hills on the Sunshine Coast where I'm from.
Right.
And yeah, some lady just sat us down. I remember the first time I meditated. She gave us all our mantras after like 3 days of her explaining how meditation works, and then we all sat and meditated together. And I remember I was super in it. And when we came into the end of it, all I remember is there was, I was at a supermarket. Like it was like, I was having a full-on vision of being at a supermarket. And there was a lady at the cash register swiping stuff across the cash register. And she goes, how was it? And I was like, oh my God, it was so good. And that's all I remember is like talking to this random lady at a cash register and then coming out of it and being surrounded by a bunch of people at this meditation workshop. Yeah. Do you meditate?
Yeah, well, I got pretty heavy into Qigong meditation. Are you familiar with Qigong?
No.
It's like a Chinese standing meditation.
Okay.
Kind of like yoga, but less. Well, the versions of Qigong I've done have less movement, more just like holding poses. Yeah, that really helped me, and I kind of got me really interested in like Taoism and like, I guess like, yeah, the ancient Chinese spirituality is real interesting to me. And then I went to a Vipassana around that time in my life. I went to a Vipassana retreat up where you're from, actually.
At Chen Rezig. If it was Sunshine Coast, it would have been Chen Rezig.
It was in Noosa, I think.
Like inland though.
I can't remember.
It would have been Chen Rezig.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's like kangaroos and shit. Have you been there?
Yeah, I went and saw the Dalai Lama speak there once.
Oh, really? Damn.
Yeah, ages ago. Yeah.
Cool.
Because Noosa's like the coastline. Like Chen Rezig's like, I don't know where it is. It's near Montville. It's
true.
kind of near where I learned to meditate, actually.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and that was transformational for me. I actually left after 6 days, but I didn't really view it as a failure because obviously Vipassana is supposed to be 10 days. But I honestly, that stage of my life, even the idea of going to a meditation retreat was something that would like shock everyone that I had known up until that point. So like, I don't know if you relate, but sometimes it's like even just like deciding to do the thing is a big part of it.
6 days is a long time as well, though.
Exactly, right?
It's pretty. I think they do like introduction ones where it's like 3 days to give you like an idea.
Yeah. And it's like I went hard, like every morning I was there for the extra. So I did 10 hours of meditation every day for 6 days.
Did you want to explain what it is just for people that don't know it?
Yeah, good point.
What's it called?
Vipassana.
Yeah, Vipassana, that's right. I always mix Shavasana and Vipassana up.
What's Shavasana?
Shavasana is like the sleeping pose that you do at the end of yoga, you know, when you lay down. Shavasana, I'm pretty sure that's what it's called.
Like child's pose.
No, it's just like you just like lay down flat. They call it like corpse pose. It's the one where
right.
I always end up like falling asleep and drooling on myself.
Yeah, right.
This was so hard. Anyway, but yeah, Vipassana.
Vipassana is a silent meditation retreat that originated, I should say, in India, and it's like no speaking and no eye contact. Basically, you're around other people, but you're not interacting at all. So it can take a little bit of getting used to. And you can talk once a day to like the teacher if you want to, but they're not really there to have a chat, you know. And it was interesting. One of the main reasons I went to do it was to decide if rapping was something that I really wanted to do, or if it was just something I was spending a lot of time on.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've had to consider that before, but yeah, it was definitely cemented for me how important rapping and just writing is. Like, there's a bunch of things I'm addicted to in like the modern world, like weed and technology and stuff. But after 6 days, I honestly felt like if I could just have half an hour to write a bunch of shit, I could have done the next 4 days. But I'd never learnt how to process things without writing. And it made me realize how important that is for just my being. Yeah, and also like, but around that time I'd started memorizing Black Thought's 10-minute freestyle, and I'm fucking sitting there in like silent meditation, and it's running through my head. Somebody dead in the car, it's probably one of yours, riding all across the windows and the walls. And like silently battle rapping people in my head and stuff. I'm like, man, yeah, okay. And actually, it was a silent retreat, but there was one moment where I went into the bush away from everyone, and I had a fear that I would have forgotten how to rap, because it'd been like the longest I hadn't rapped, like 5 days or whatever. And I just quietly like rapped to myself. I was like, oh yeah, I can still do it.
It's like you're like the guy in 1984 in the corner with the diary.
Yeah.
But you're at Vipassana and you're like writing.
Yeah. And I felt like I had to escape too, because I was like, I need to get out of here.
Oh,
like,
that's funny.
Because I guess I have issues with trust and authority and stuff, so it takes me a lot to like know that they've got my best interests at heart.
Yeah.
And then how do they know they do? Do you know what I mean? Like,
how do you know you do?
It's a good question. Well, I think I'm the only one. I think we're all the only ones that are in the position to know what's best for us. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, sometimes. I think sometimes it's important to have the perspective of others. I think that's why it's so good to have honest friends around. My biggest movements in life, a lot of it's from friends calling me out and going, yo, like, you need to get your shit together. But it had to be certain people. It couldn't be anybody. Like, some people would tell me something, I'd be like, I don't care what you say. But some friends would tell me things. And yeah, like, that's why I stopped drinking. A friend told me I need to stop drinking.
True.
I haven't drank in like 10 years.
Nice one, dude.
Anyway, sorry, we're getting off subject. But yeah, so you were like hiding in the corner rapping. Did you write anything down? Do you remember what you wrote down?
No, I didn't. there's a Ruby. Do you know Ruby Ibarra?
No.
I'll show you some of her shit. But I had one of her raps memorized. It was kind of like just my companion rap that I'd always do to myself, whatever. And like, I just went to the bush and just like made sure I could still physically rap. Yeah. Because I was stressed out about it.
Right.
So meditation, I don't, sort of same as what you were saying, I don't meditate as much as I know I should anymore. But I do Qigong maybe once every couple of weeks at least. And I've started using like a meditation app I downloaded.
Which one?
It is called...
Not Sam Harris's.
Nah. I don't like any... If someone wants to be a spiritual leader, they should not be engaged in politics. I think. I can't really deal with someone because I first got introduced to Sam Harris through his politics, and it just corrupts it. I think they're two separate
You reckon
things.
he wants to be a spiritual leader though? He seems more like a facilitator to me of like
True.
having, I don't know, I had his app. It was good. I send other people to it.
Okay.
Although to be fair, because I know his views on determinism, listening to the meditation in his app, I can hear how it is polluted with his opinions of determinism. But like, you understand what determinism is?
I think so.
Just to explain in case people don't know, so determinism is the opposite of free will. So you got free will where we're choosing everything, and determinism is the idea that you're born into a set of circumstances and biology that you didn't choose, and these things that you didn't choose eventually make up the makeup of your mind and your decision making mechanisms, and therefore you never really choose anything. And Sam Harris believes this to be true, and in the debates it's quite convincing when you listen to it. Sort of questions start coming up as to where does that thought come from? You just thought something, where did it come from? Did you really stop and choose it, or did it just manifest from something that you didn't have a choice in? And when listening to his meditations, he's very much talking about like, well, where did that thought come from? But that's kind of meditation in general, though. I think that's a good thing to meditate on, thinking about the idea of a thought. Because that's like one of the common goals of meditation, right? Is looking at like your consciousness as a stream and being more witness to it than what we usually do, which is playing in it or drowning in it or trying to fight against it, or like whatever we're doing. We're like so involved with the stream, we think we are the stream, and the idea is like to sit on the outside, which is a very determinism sort of idea of just like watching.
Yeah, I've seen him talk a little bit about that. I can't remember if I know other determinists embrace the paradox of it, where we have free will, but it's also determinist. I don't know if he believes that or not.
He just believes in straight determinism, but you could see how it would be a paradox.
But it doesn't make any sense, right? If you only believe in determinism, because then you could just shoot up heroin every day and be like, this is what was supposed to happen.
Well, that's sort of, I believe in determinism, and granted, I'm not going to die on that hill, but I choose to live my life as if free will exists, because I think that's a better way to be. Whether or not I chose that or not, exactly. Who knows?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I'm not smart enough to really know if determinism's real. It's a very deep concept. But when I've watched the debates of it, it's very convincing. It's very hard to argue against.
Yeah.
What was I saying? Yeah, but I mean, either way, I'd still choose to. I think one of the biggest things that I've found when listening to people that are into determinism is like one thing Sam Harris says, which is he's I'm going to try not to go into too much of like what he says, because it's better just to watch him say it, because he'll say it a lot better. I'm totally paraphrasing, but he's not like, it's like if determinism is real, you start to think, okay, well then punishing someone is immoral because they didn't choose to do anything they did. And he's not, it flips that, but what he says is he's not unrealistic. There's certain people in our society that our society needs to be protected from, and they might need to be taken away from people for a moment or for a long time, or who knows. But it just means we're not going to punish them, though. We're not going to, like, they hurt us, so now we hurt them, and it kind of takes us out of that cycle. And I guess it creates more empathy of going, well, you're just like me. I just happen to not be born into a set of circumstances where I end up doing something like what you're doing.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that we should just let everyone reign free in some kind of nihilistic. Yeah, because you're right. You go, oh, well, I didn't choose anything, so I'll just shoot up heroin all day. It's like, well, yeah, if you want to shoot up heroin all day, but is that the only option? Maybe it's, well, I didn't choose anything, so I might as well go to Europe and fucking run around and have a great time, or maybe
I'll be the best version of myself.
Exactly. It could lead you anywhere. Yeah, but it could lead you down a very nihilistic path of like nothing having any purpose.
Yeah. I think that's with that sort of stuff, the main issue is attachment. If someone like finds a new idea that they really like, but then they attach themselves to it and they let it like kind of become static, that's when it goes wrong. You know, like ideas are useful, but if people lose the ability to balance multiple ideas, then it can be start being destructive. I think, or people start using it to justify destructive behaviors, maybe.
Yeah.
Like people that go like, oh, I don't want to go to a therapist because I'm too smart for them, or whatever, you know. It's like, that's not really the point of a therapist, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like it was That's the whole thing. It's kind of like if you want to be president, you probably shouldn't be president. So it's like if someone said to me, I'm enlightened, it's like, well, you're probably not enlightened. If someone said like, I'm smarter than a therapist. I had someone tell me, I was talking to this friend once. They said to me, they were talking about their patterns, and I said, well, maybe something's happening that you're not aware of. And she goes, no, I'm aware of everything going on with me. I go, well, by definition, if you're not aware of it, then you wouldn't be
How would you know?
She go, yeah, exactly. She's like, oh, no, trust me. I'm completely self-aware. I'm like, how would you ever know that?
That's either the most self-aware statement or the most ignorant statement ever.
I just get hung up in logic. That doesn't make no logical sense.
For real.
It doesn't mean she's wrong. It just means you can't know that you're right. Maybe you are right, but you can't know that. You can't know that you're aware of everything because you're not aware of the things you're not aware of. So how the fuck would you know? And plus, can anyone really be completely aware of themselves? I mean, that's pretty wild.
Yeah, the very fact that someone would say that would would present the idea that they're not.
That's what I think.
Yeah, that they've got huge blind spots.
If someone's like, I'm so enlightened, I know everything, I'd be like,
yeah.
What's the saying? Like, that's right. I remember I was on mushrooms once, and I had this huge realization. I went really deep. It was one of those nights that makes you go, man, you got to respect mushrooms because they'll take you there. And I remember shooting up out of this bed, and I looked down at my friend, and I was like, I get it. She's like, what? I'm like, I don't know anything. She looked up at me and she goes, well, welcome to the group of people who know nothing. It's like, yeah, fuck.
Profound, right?
I mean, I guess. Like, I don't know what the fuck that means, though. Like, I know nothing. Okay, what do you do now? I don't know. It was an intense night.
My mantra that really pulled me out of depression was that nothing exists. When I would get really depressed about the state of the world or something, I would just repeat this mantra that nothing exists. And for me, that it might sound nihilistic to people, but for me, it meant that there's nothing permanent that actually consistently exists. So therefore, the possibilities are endless, and anything could happen. You know, the future isn't set in stone. And what we know is social constructs or whatever, nothing's permanent. For me, that really I don't know, liberated me from feeling, I don't know. I used to feel a lot of responsibility to fix the world or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you meditate on that?
Well, I guess. I mean, I don't try to meditate on anything specifically. I try to just breathe. You know what I mean? Let it happen because, I think too much, you know. So the less I can think, I think. I think about the less I can think.
You ever listen to Horror Show?
Who's that?
Horror Show?
Is that a rock band?
It's a rap group in Sydney. He's got this great line. He goes, People say they think I think too much. And I thought about it. And I think they should shut the fuck up.
There's also that thing is maybe they don't think enough.
Maybe. I mean, is there too much or too little? It's it's pretty subjective. I get what you mean. I would also say I think too much. But then, if I wasn't thinking, I might walk in front of a car by accident. You know what I mean?
I just remember there was this period of time where I read these two different books, and they both mentioned Descartes' I think therefore I am, and how that was the point at which society went down the wrong direction because it's based in thinking rather than being, as opposed to a Rastafari or spiritual perspective that I exist because I am.
Isn't is that what the Rastafarians are saying? I am I.
Yeah.
I thought they're saying I and I. I thought it was something to do with Isa Selassie. It was some kind of initial I and I.
Oh, maybe I've got that wrong.
No, I might have it wrong as well. I just know they're talking about Isa. You know about Isa Selassie? He was
Haile Selassie. Is that who you're saying?
Am I saying man? I don't know what I'm talking about. But the Ethiopian king.
Yeah, the reincarnation.
They thought. Yeah. What? How do you say his name?
Haile Selassie.
Oh, I thought it was Isa Selassie.
Yeah, right.
I just heard someone say, you know, when you hear someone say a word and then you think you heard it, but you heard it wrong. Anyway, yeah, right. They're saying I am I.
Yeah, that's my understanding. We could Google that shit later. But
That's fascinating, though. That's a nice mantra.
you know what I mean? Like, as opposed to I think, therefore I am, which like suggests that
You
you're
are
only
thought.
you're only thought, but like your mind is not like really that reliable because our minds are so powerful. Like they can, you know what I mean? People in cults or whatever, they can like convince themselves of anything, which is pretty beautiful, but like not something to base your whole society on. I think. But anyway, do you want to talk about rap music?
Yeah.
Do you want to just run down for the people your projects so that everyone knows about them?
Yeah. So when I was 17, I was in a group called Progressive Minds, which is interesting because it sounds like a liberal supergroup, which is the opposite of what it was. It was just like some rat bag, drug taking idiots.
Progressive.
Well, it was before like progressivism was a thing. Well, before we knew it was a thing. I don't know if it was. We were in Noosa and we thought we're so progressive because we take hallucinogens and make rap music.
Like spiritually progressive as opposed to politically progressive.
Yeah, maybe. We thought we were pretty cool.
How old were you when you started?
I was 16 probably when it started, and I think we put an album out when I was 17. I'll have to show it to you.
Yeah.
It was pretty good. My raps were terrible, but the beats were sick. My brother was really good. I reckon my brother, he's probably better now, but he was pretty fucking good back then. Hey, like his raps were dope. And then when I was 21, I put out an album called Beautiful Chaos. But this was all back in the day when it was like, oh, where can I hear it? Well, go find someone who I gave a CD to at a bus stop in 2006. or 2009 maybe when that came out. You know what I mean?
Underground.
Yeah, well, there was no Spotify and shit. You didn't... I can't even remember where you'd put stuff out digitally.
No SoundCloud? When did SoundCloud come up?
Fucking after 2009. It was definitely at a time where when we were just burning CDs and then putting those sticky covers on them ourselves. And yeah, so I did that. And then I did an EP called Give with a guy called Yuri when I first moved to Melbourne, because I moved here in 2014.
Oh, yeah.
And then I did the Stop Trying EP with Clean Beats. And I also did a project with him called Brothers Bond, which was me and him and a guy called Free MC from back home. And yeah, and then recently I put out Happy is Cool and Behind the Smile.
Dope.
And at the moment, oh my gosh, sorry, my phone might be... I should have put it on airplane mode.
It's all good.
Bam.
What was the album that you mentioned that wasn't on SoundCloud that I didn't?
Beautiful Chaos.
Oh, yeah.
And also Progressive Minds. Fuck. Oh yeah, that album was called Building Blocks.
Okay.
Yeah, and then yeah, the rest of them should be on SoundCloud, except for the one that you pointed out today, Behind the Smile's not on SoundCloud. I need to put it.
Oh, Behind This Mask. Yeah. Put that up because I'm keen to listen to it.
Mm.
I don't use Spotify.
I'll send it to you. You'd like it. It's on some fucking rap shit. It's pretty cool.
Dope.
Yeah.
So what made you want to start rapping?
When I was 12, my cousin showed me an Eminem song called Guilty Conscience. Do you remember this song?
Mm-hmm.
And oh
It's
man,
so dark, that track, man.
oh bro. But when you're 12,
I'm not saying it's bad.
no, definitely not. But like, you know, I was 12. We just wanted to be rebels. I think people. Well, no, I won't speculate on other people. But I grew up with it so good in such a beautiful place. I've always had a real fascination with dark stuff. And I know other friends who have grown up with it like legitimately hard, and a lot of them I find is the opposite. They really want to read fantasy and sort of escape more. So for me, I don't know, listening to Eminem Guilty Conscience, it didn't really like hit home on any personal experience. I wasn't like triggered by it. I just thought it was an interesting song, like idea. And it was. I mean, it's like, for those who haven't heard it, it's Dr. Dre and Eminem, and Dr. Dre is the angel and Eminem is the devil, and it's going into 3 different situations, and it's like them talking to the person, and they're like arguing with each other. It's a fucking great idea for a song. Yeah, and I heard that, and it reminded me actually of the J. Cole lyric when he's. You ever heard the song "I Let Nas Down"? Where he says, I used to hang up pictures. I used to write lyrics down and put them on my walls. People thought it was words, but it was pictures that I saw. It was kind of like that because I just remember it was like cinematic to me. I remember hearing it and going, "Holy shit! Like, what is this?" It was so magic, and I'd always wanted to be a singer ever since I was like 10. I heard the song, "My Girl." Talking about my girl. You know that song? I heard that when I was 10 and I wanted to be a singer. So I'd done singing lessons for years and I was never very good at it because I wanted to be a singer, but I didn't enjoy singing. I just wanted to be that thing. And when I heard rap music, I went home that day and started penning. Like, started writing and just writing and writing and writing. And I remember I wrote a song that probably went for like, I don't know, 500 bars because there was no point, there was no ending to it. It was just the activity of writing it and not like trying to finish it or write a hook. I don't even remember what beat. I don't even know if I had a beat. And I remember some of the first lyrics you'll see of my writing. I'll like be writing the beat. I'll be like, oh yeah, like boom ka, boom ka, boom ka, and then I'll have the rap lyrics like as if the beat was like part of the. Yeah, anyway.
You're like assimilating this, like...
Well, just like, how's the song going to sound? I'll write the song. Oh, boom, ka, T, boom, ka, T. I don't know. It's like, I'd have to find I've got my original rhyme book still. It's terrible.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. Oh my God, it's like a fucking relic of the past. In the back, it's got like, it just says dealer, and then it's got like a landline number for whoever was selling me weed at the time. And then there's like up, down, right, triangle.
Cheat codes for GTA.
Yeah. Some game, whatever game it was I was playing. Like, it was, and then it had like these girls' numbers that I was hooking up with at the time. So it wasn't my 12-year-old one. This was my first rhyme book was when I was a bit older. Anyway, yeah, so I started doing it. My brother, when he heard that song as well, because my cousin called us into his room like he'd found something. Like, hey guys, I'm going to show you this thing. It's called hip hop. And he like showed it and we were like, what the fuck? And my brother went home and started writing the exact same day. So me and my brother have been rapping ever since.
Your brother's older than you?
Yeah, he's like 2 or 3 years older than me.
Right.
Yeah. And yeah, so that's
so were you already into writing before rapping? Or did rap just
I was really
inspire you?
trying to find myself. I remember like I liked, what do they call it? Like new aged rock or whatever. What's Limp Bizkit? Like
Nu metal.
Nu metal, that's right. I was really into nu metal. I loved Limp Bizkit. I loved Korn. I loved Rage Against the Machine. I wanted to do something with heavy guitars, so I would write like lyrics about the devil, but it was very much like, oh, this is the subject, like, oh, metal, what do they write about? Satanic stuff. Like, because I'm like 11 and I don't know what to say, so I was writing stuff like that, but nothing of any substance. And then when I heard rap music, then I was doing the same thing, but I was like, oh, rapping isn't like a medium for like each individual's expression. Rapping is gangster lyrics. Like, that's what I thought. Like, so I'd write like uber gangster lyrics about guns, and like I had an American accent when I do it, and like this whole thing. And then Hilltop Hoods, when they came out, all the people picking on me for rapping all of a sudden started rapping. And and then I started finding my voice, I guess, and I've been doing that ever since. And still doing it. I think the hardest thing is to find, and I'm still searching for it now, is you spend so much time trying to be someone who you think is cool, and then you go, okay, well, what about, like, who am I? Okay, and then you start trying to be you, but then you're trying to be you, and that's where the Stop Trying EP came from, the whole idea of, like, stop trying, like, there is no spoon, like, it's like the Yoda, like, there is no try. But even then, like, it's still, like, a constant activity of really trying to find my voice as a person, and like, who am I beyond someone who just wants to be loved and have attention? Like, who am I really? Like, who am I in an empty room? Like, if everyone left and I'd never see anyone again and I was writing lyrics, what would they be? You know what I mean? And trying to really find like that that part of yourself that wants to say something. I don't know. It's a weird thing being a writer and really trying to connect with something, especially now that I'm older and I've got a job and I'm sort of more aware of the reasons that I wanted to be successful as an artist, and that they weren't always just making art, but a lot of them are still based around just wanting to be loved. And what is it all outside of that? Anyway.
Like wanting to be seen for who you are? Like
I just want to be loved. I just want attention. Yeah.
Right.
But I also really, it's kind of split, because my favorite part of rap is sitting on my own writing raps.
Yeah.
Like, I like it that more than showing anyone. I like it more than recording it.
Like it's entertaining for yourself.
It's just like a passionate, like I just get in a zone. Like
Yeah.
I write most of my raps in coffee shops. I'll sit and drink coffee and mumble to myself, and I just have such a good time doing that. And I do it, if no one's going to listen, I'll probably do it forever. But I think there's a difference between me like writing raps and then me like wanting to be famous and wanting to be an artist where I walk into a room and people know me and scream my name and you know, all that. And that's wrapped up around wanting all the girls to want to have sex with me, and wanting all the people to give me free drugs, and wanting just like attention, and wanting all these things that I think now that I'm older, it's a bit of a cliche, but I think cliches are true a lot of the time, which is that I just need to learn to love myself. And that's kind of more the path I'm on now, is like really trying to like deep down just like love myself, and then discover who I am as an artist outside of life's like addictive pleasures. You know what I mean?
Outside of like sins of the flesh.
Yeah, just like outside of motivation of like a hole trying to be filled. Like if you feel full, what do you do then? Because I'd still write. I'd probably perform less, which I do perform less now. I used to like perform everywhere. Like if you met me at a bus stop, I'm going to rap for you.
Yeah, right.
Like when I was younger. Like if I was on a date with a girl, 5 minutes into the date, I'm like showing her a rap.
Like freestyling or like...
Whatever. I wrote this rap. You want to hear a rap? I do a rap. And I'll still show people raps sometimes now. But usually not like at dinner.
I had a question I was going to ask you. Forgot. It feels like what you're talking about is like getting in touch with God, like your truth, the essence of life, and for you, the way you express that is through rap. Would that seem accurate? Do you believe in God?
I don't believe in God as like a human entity with a beard and shit.
No, neither.
But I think we're all trying to be in the moment. I think that's what the majority of when people are trying to, you know, like you jerk off, you get that flash in your head. You're so in the moment. Or like surfing. Like I really love bodyboarding, getting on a wave, and you're so in the moment. I imagine people racing cars, people dancing. I don't know if the moment is God, but it's the only thing that really exists. And outside of like mental projections. And I think if I was going to try to get in touch with anything, it would be getting more in tune with that and being able to really hone in on the moment. And that's why meditation's so important, because it settles down the ocean. Although then that's confusing, because the ocean's really great for writing. All the anxiety and the chaos in my head is like exactly what makes me good at writing. And if I didn't have it, I probably wouldn't be very good at writing, but I might be much happier. So I don't know.
Do you like Sage Francis?
Yeah, I love Sage Francis.
Do you know that song he wrote when he wrote the song about how everything in his life was going great? He was with this girl, he was happy, and then he couldn't write. He had nothing to write about.
I can't remember it, but I would have heard it. When I was younger, he was like one of my favorites.
Right, yeah. And it's like this whole build up, and it's like so I fucked her mum. It's like the idea that artists, you know what I
So
mean?
just
Like
tear it all down.
what you just said, like, yeah, we can live in the moment and be free, but really the inspiration comes from turmoil. I think Jean Grey's written a lot about that too. It's inspired me kind of.
Jean Grey, the artist.
Yeah. About like making life chaotic so that her songs are good.
Oh, Jean Grey, a musician.
The rapper, yeah.
Oh, I don't know if I know Jean Grey.
Oh, I'll show you her. She's my favorite.
Is your phone on?
It's on filming.
Oh, it's the right. Okay, all good.
Can you hear something?
Oh, I can just hear like signal.
True.
Yeah, Sage Francis, man, fuck, he's the one. He's got this line, I'll never forget it. I always tell it to people when people say, I don't like rap music. I'm like, you haven't really listened to the lyrics though. Like Sage Francis goes, I'm a real underground rapper. No, he goes, I'm a real vegetarian. No chicken, not even fish. I'm a real underground rapper. My tape quality sucks, my records are warped, and my CD skips. Lady Luck is a greedy bitch with itchy palms and a case of the gimmies, but if she's got an Audi, then I've got an innie. I'll clean her pipes and then sweep her chimney. Like, he's just so poetic. He was really funny with his... You ever watch his battles back in the day?
Nah, I haven't.
He used to do freestyle... He was really into freestyle battles, and he'd dress up as a guy called Strange Famous, which was kind of this, like... guy who would wear like AC/DC shirts and like trucker hats, and he'd do it because like people would rock up thinking like, oh, I'm gonna battle this guy, and then he'd rock up with like, instead of Sage Francis, he's Strange Famous, and he's like this alias, and it would kind of throw people off, and he was just so weird. I saw, yeah, very meta, very. I remember seeing him live once, and he rocked up and he had a cape and a wig on, and he was like fucking yelling and stuff and throwing things. He was so funny. He's very talented.
I always like that song he did with Atmosphere, the Makeshift Patriot song.
Oh, it's a great song.
Like, that's pretty amazing.
All the Rhyme Sayers stuff is like my favorite. Idea is my favorite rapper.
Rest in peace.
Hands down, yeah, rest in peace. He's the GOAT.
His freestyles, battles, that's like the that's the pinnacle, I think.
His freestyle battles are really good, and his songwriting is just like. Did you ever listen to his songs much? I'm not sure. The album Firstborn.
Maybe I haven't. Maybe I should go check it out.
He's got this song, and it's kind of on the subject of what we're on. It's interesting. I was listening to it over and over for many years, and I've started reading lyrics lately. And my partner's not really into lyrics. No, she's not really into hip hop. So I've been getting her into hip hop more by like printing lyrics out, and I'll just like read them to her like a story. I'll just take like like an Atmosphere song. It's like a story, and be like, oh, if you really read this, you're gonna really like this song. Like the lyrics are so good. So I was reading the idea lyrics, and I finally like came to a grasp of this song. Kind of, it's pretty fucking deep. People should go hear it. It's a song about a guy who has this repetitious dream of himself laying on a platform, and he has this really loud sound going, and he doesn't want to have this dream anymore. It's quite tormenting for him. So he spends every day painting pictures of himself. And then because he spends every day painting pictures of himself, it trains him not to dream. It's somehow him figuring out that's how he stops dreaming. And then one day he's at an art gallery, and he's walking around looking at paintings, and he sees this painting, and it's a painting of a person laying on a where do planes take off from?
Runway.
Yeah, runway. Yeah. He's laying on a runway, and there's a plane taking off next to him, and he realizes that it's a painting of his dream. And in realizing it's a painting of his dream, he realizes that he is just an art piece that was painted by God, right. And therefore he is a god painting other gods, painting other gods, painting other gods, painting other gods. So it's this whole song that's just talking about the paradox of realizing God exists, and therefore realizing you are a god, and therefore realizing that you're infinitely birthing gods through art. It's fucking wild. He's so, like, he was such a fucking deep thinker. It was so intense, and his producer abilities, like the DJ, is so creative. But anyway, yeah, there's like Firstborn, and then there's E&A, and then there's By the Throat, and then he had another project which was like a band thing. I can't remember what it was called. I only actually found out about it recently, which is really good. But those three albums, Firstborn, E&A, and By the Throat.
God Loves Ugly?
No, God Loves Ugly is the Atmosphere album.
Oh yeah, sorry, I don't know.
No, it's like an alias. It's like a name. I can't remember what it was. Anyway, but I fucking love Idea. He was so good.
Yeah.
It was just, it's that kind of music, and I like writing that stuff, and then I also get sick of myself when I write stuff like that, because I definitely feel like a lot of the music I'm writing now is more in that ilk of writing extremely in-depth things that are like metaphorical and all sorts of very deep like subjects, but I don't know, then I just start feeling like a pretentious idiot.
Do you feel like it alienates the audience? Or you fear it will alienate the audience?
No, I don't think it'll alienate the audience, although a song like the one I just described, even as a fan of it, like I always loved this song, it took me a long time to even understand, like to be able to explain that to you as to what it is. And if he was still alive and I told him what I thought the song was about, who knows, maybe he'd say that's not what it's about, you totally missed it, because it's such an intense song. But no, I don't think it alienates the audience. I think me being too bar heavy and rapping without choruses alienates the audience. Everyone except for you.
Yeah, bro.
Just you and like maybe one other person that's ready for me to spit like 62 bars.
Or 01 Eka, me and him were like vibing
Oh
shit the other night.
01 Echo, yeah.
Just
01
like,
Echo's a jam.
And Esky too. He was. I remember him just like. For anyone that hasn't seen Kudos spit like or heard his music, you've got the craziest lung capacity of anyone I've ever seen. Like,
Thanks, dude.
it makes sense to me now that I understand you started rapping from like 12 years old, because you just fucking go hard, and your voice is always pretty like in a good range. You don't get too raspy. Like I guess that makes sense that you trained as a singer. Now that I know that.
Yeah, the breath work that I did as a singer works. Yeah, it's something that I still use like all the time.
Yeah, because I was watching you, man. It's like when I rap my verses, people are like, "Well, that's long." Like I have some acapellas and stuff that go long, but your shit's like quadruple as complicated and like, flawless, man. It's like definitely inspiring.
Thanks, dude.
But yeah, like it's funny, right? That like what I love about your music is the reason that many people might not listen to your shit. Maybe
I don't know.
Or not, I don't know. But like I just think it's dope. Like I think being able to rap real long verses that like tell a story, I think that's like what rap's for. Like hooks and choruses are cool.
Yeah, it's but sometimes even like think of Joyner Lucas, right? You know Joyner Lucas?
Mm-hmm.
For those who don't know Joyner Lucas, he's a rapper that's very known for, I mean, he's known for lots of different stuff, but his technical ability as a rapper is very like Eminem style, like extreme like craftsman of rapping, of like the skill and ability of rapping. He's so good, but his story songs he does are so fucking in depth. Like, you know, the one about the $100 bill.
I think so. Yeah.
It's like he does the song $100 bill, and it just he just follows this $100 bill across all these different scenarios, and it goes for like 10 minutes or something. And it's the kind of song, even as a fan, I'll listen to it once and be like, this is fucking incredible, and then maybe I'll show a friend because it's so incredible, but it's not the kind of thing I'll pull up regularly. And to be fair, I'm not as good as Joyner Lucas. I'm not even close as good, and that's not what I'm saying, but it's just more, I don't know, when you write, I don't know, it's hard to know who, like,
it's not necessarily digestible for the casual listener.
Yeah, which is, I think that's a beautiful art form, is writing an extremely deep song that people feel connected to, but that's really simple. And I think that's what some of the greatest songwriters like Carole King and the Beatles and like a lot of these artists write these songs. Yesterday feels my troubles seem so far away. You know, it's such a simple lyric. Mac Miller's got that lyric. What's he say? He goes, my regrets look just like texts I shouldn't send. And I got neighbors, they're more like strangers. We should be friends. I just need a way out of my head. It's like these lyrics that are so deep and so relatable. Like, my regrets look just like texts I shouldn't send. That's such a fucking beautiful lyric. And to be honest, I would give up all of the flippity dippity fanciness of rapping to write a lyric that is that beautiful. My regrets look just like text I shouldn't send. It's so fucking beautiful. And I think that's, for me, my favorite rap is like really when it gets into the it's like folk music. It's like contemporary folk music, you know? And I think that's interesting when people, you know, because they had Kendrick Lamar come to the blues festival in Byron, and everyone was so upset. People were like, oh, he's a rapper, he shouldn't be there. But after he played, people were like, oh, we get it, because the people running it were like, nah, like he's gonna be known as one of the greatest writers of all of like a generation. Like, you need to see this guy. It doesn't matter. Like, you're looking at the medium, you're like, oh, rap music, it's all shaking booties and gangster stuff, and it's just like there's so much more to rap. That's why rap's so interesting, because it's just a medium now. It's like a medium for communication, and it has a history, and it has many themes that have played out and will continue to play out. And I like those themes. Like, that's not talking down on shaking booties or gangster rap, because I think all of that's really important as well, and it's like part of a culture. But I think people on the outside that look in and just see like a commercial rap song with like women dancing naked and someone rapping about their bling, they might go, oh, like they look at it like I did when I was a kid, and they go, rap music isn't a medium, it's a subject, and the subject is this subject, and I don't like this subject, so therefore I don't like hip hop or I don't like rap music, when it's like it's so much more. I saw do you know Bullhorn?
No.
Bullhorn, some friends of mine in Brisbane, they're like a brass band. There might be like 10 of them maybe. Anyway, they're a huge brass band, and they've got an MC at the front. His name's Roman MC. He's one of the greatest MCs I've ever seen. He's insane. Freestyles half the set. You wouldn't even know. Only as a rapper I can hear when he starts freestyling. But like people that don't rap, you're like, how do you know when he switches between? I'm like, I can just hear the cadence changes. He might like point something out about someone in the crowd. You can just kind of hear it. But they're so epic. And I remember one time I saw them at Woodford Folk Festival. They were in front of, I don't know, 20,000 people or some shit. And I remember walking past, and there was this old guy. And this old guy goes, what is this? And someone goes, this is hip hop. And he goes, this is hip hop? Like, he'd never seen anything outside of, I don't know, just like what was on the radio or whatever, and never seen. It's like, no, hip hop's so many things. And that's why I always show people Sage Francis, because I'm like, if you don't like hip hop, no, some people might just not like hip hop, but most of the time I think it's they just haven't searched out the hip hop, the style that's for them, because there's so many types, like there's so many different types of rap. Yeah, like look at the Roots. Like, I've got a friend, and he does photos for Rolling Stone and stuff, and I'm pretty sure he said this to me. Anyway, I've got a friend who's a photographer. He's taken photos of James Brown. He's taken photos of B.B. King, like face to face. He's taken photos of Portishead, like all the grades. He reckons the Roots is the best live band he's ever seen. He says, like, hands down, greatest live act he's ever seen. I just think some stuff's undeniable. Anyway, sorry, I'm getting on a fucking total rant. I have no idea where we started there.
No, I feel it, man. I feel it. I think, I relate to what you're saying, because I'm obsessed with rap music, and all the rap I listen to is like extremely lyrical, like Daylight, Pharaoh Monch. Like, I think those are the...
You listen to Daylight a lot.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I got to get into him more. I used to watch him battle a lot.
I fucking love Daylight, man.
Cool.
I feel like mine and his brains are like really similar.
You mean like Tattoo on the Face?
Yeah.
Right, that's cool.
Spawn.
Yeah, Spawn. It's funny.
But like, so like to me, I just take it for granted that everyone knows that rap music is like elite intelligence. But then I'll be at like a hip hop event somewhere talking to someone that's not really into it, and I'll mention that hip hop like raps like intelligent music, and they'll like think I'm joking, and it's like, I don't understand. Like, do you understand? Like, a rapper is, assuming they're writing their own bars, which should be the case, right? They're a writer, which is one of the hardest things to be. Plus, they're a performer, which is one of the hardest things to be. You know what I mean? Plus, they're like promoting themselves as a like independent artist in a business. You know what I mean? Like, all these things are like, you're basically being partly an actor as well. Like, you're basically doing like all these like difficult jobs in one, and for some reason it's like degenerated, whatever, not valued.
I think it's just the view that somebody has on it. And I think, like, how old are you now?
34.
Yeah, so I think, like, because we've been around a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Well, actually, maybe not even, no, I wouldn't even say been around longer. I'd say, like, when you've listened to hip-hop for a really long time and you've seen it go through so many different phases, you see it. There's just so much to it, and it's one of the biggest genres in the world now. Like, it's so big, and that's from like watching Eminem's whole thing, and then watching like, you know, the Roots, and then watching all these different things, and like Erykah Badu, and then like Talib Kweli, and like all these. You watch all these people, and then it forms into like, and then you've got like the grime scene in England, and then you got the drill scene in Chicago, and then the drill scene went to England, and then the drill scene went to Australia, and it changed every time, and it goes through so many things. And then you got like the turntablism battles, like who's the best turntablist, and then you've got like watching Tom Thumb beatbox battle back in the day, and he was trying to beat this guy, and he ended up getting a cordless mic and jumping in and doing a fucking windmill while he's beatboxing, and then he becomes so famous because he's got one of the highest TED Talk views of all time. It's got like 45 million views of him beatboxing.
Really?
And then he ends up doing a song with fucking Rather Rugged Man, and then he ends up doing a whole performance with like a symphony orchestra, and it's like when you've watched so many more, and this is literally me only describing the different morphing of hip hop there's so much more than just what I've just said. There's like so much more.
Acapella battles,
freestyle battles, and even just like, and then the other crazy thing is how unaware of other countries we are other than our own country, America, and maybe England. Because if you start getting into French hip hop, I reckon the French are the best at hip hop.
Really?
Dude,
like rapping?
They're so good at rapping and breakdancing, and the DJs there are fucking wild. And then even when I went to Malaysia, like, do you know who Joe Flizzo is?
No.
He's like the Hilltop Hoods of Malaysia.
Wow.
Every country has a Hilltop Hoods. Just most other countries aren't usually aware of them. But hip hop's so big in every country. There's usually someone, like he started in a crew called Too Fat, and then he became like his solo thing. He's like Joe Flizzo, and now he owns like all of these barber shops all around Malaysia called Joe's Barbers, and then in them he has a YouTube show called 16 Baris, which means 16 bars, and then people go in and they have like his DJ, and then they've got his DJ, and then the rappers will cypher, and then at the end of every season they have a giant concert, and it's like thousands of people, and usually a couple of the people who are on the show will become famous after that. And that's sort of like the stepping stones in like Malaysian hip hop industry to becoming like a really big rapper over there. And to be honest, I'd say most people that haven't been to Malaysia probably have no idea this even exists. And that is probably a thing in basically every country in the world. I'm sure most countries in the world, if you go there, they've got someone who's Joe Flizzo or the Hilltop Hoods, or like, you know, whoever was like the one that broke down the door. And we're so unaware. It's just, anyway, so when someone says hip hop is unintelligent, I'm imagining that they have a very small little view of what they saw as being hip hop, and what they saw was unintelligent. But the idea that hip hop is unintelligent when it's so big, it's like, it almost feels like someone saying to me like music's unintelligent because they listened to one dumb song once. You go, oh, that's dumb. Like, music's dumb.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. I think, honestly, it might sound corny, but I think a lot of it comes down to racism as well, because hip hop's black music. I mean, all music's black music, really, but hip hop's viewed as like black poor people music or whatever, and that's just been, it's been subjugated. It's been like underrepresented and also like contorted by the corporations. Like, I'm not against gangster rap, but I am against gangster rap being pushed as the only style of rap. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, what was the whole, do you remember the Busy Bone interview back in the day of him like saying he got taken to some room and they were explaining how like they wanted him to like
the prison industrial complex.
It was I don't know if any of that's real. Like, I have no idea. I mean, I love Busy Bone. He's the man. But yeah, maybe when people, I think it depends on each individual. I think one person, maybe it's because they're racist, and then another person, maybe it's just because they heard a song they didn't like and they thought it was stupid. I think the idea of blanketing it and saying like anyone who doesn't like hip hop.
No, I'm not saying overtly racist, but like subconsciously it's like they've internalized it as like that stupid people music, because like it's just been how it's been sold to them. Because
maybe
they will hear it, but they won't hear it. Like,
well, most pop music's stupid. Well, actually, no. I'll pull back on that because I think it's. I don't like to judge anyone on the music they listen to. I get a feeling from listening to Biggie Smalls, someone else listens to Justin Bieber. Who am I to be like, you can't get that feeling there. You get the feeling where I get the feeling. I think it's kind of silly. But most pop music can be, you know, quite simple thinking and very like, I'm in the club, I'm drinking. It's very like, I work my job and I drink it away. Yeah, it's superficial. And So I guess, and rap music being one of the most popular genres, someone looking at it and saying it's stupid music just because all they've heard is like the popular version of it. But even that though, like you look at Kendrick Lamar, like you listen to much Kendrick Lamar?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, his music's got to be some of the most intelligent music I've ever heard. Like it's so in depth. I've been reading his lyrics recently, just like going through his albums, then just sitting there and reading them like books. And his lyrics are so fucking in depth. Like he is so smart. It's and yet you can listen to it in layers. You can just hear the song and vibe. You can listen to the song deeper and get really into it, and then you can read the lyrics and get really deep into it, and then you can read the lyrics and like watch some videos of someone breaking down like every little reference he make, and you get to this point of just going, who is this guy? Like, how can anyone have enough time to be this smart?
Because it's not just good rap, but it's probably the best writing anyone's done in recent history.
Really good.
Yeah.
It's really good, and it's really, I really like him because it's very like, it's a very cinematic view of like, you know, his, especially in like Good Kid, Mad City, where it's like, he's not the gangster, he's just your average kid in the hood. Like, this is what it was just like.
Yeah, I feel
I'm
that.
not like an exception. I'm just a person who was there, and this is what it was like being there, and this is what I saw, and this is who I talked to, and like, yeah, that album, man, like, I recommend to anyone to read albums that you like, because every
I'm
time
going
I've
to do
done
that,
it,
man, now that you've suggested that.
bro, it will blow your mind how little you know about the albums you love the most. Like, you'll go, oh, what the fuck? I don't even get what this song was about. I thought it was about this, and then you go, oh, it wasn't. And fucking genius. That website is amazing. Have you been? You know what Genius is?
I've checked it out. Yeah.
So what I found was, because I was going through and reading Kendrick Lamar lyrics, and there's like colors on the lyrics. They're like colored different things, and some they'll be highlighted, and you click on it, and it'll be a note explaining or speculating on what the references mean, and then there'll be certain notes that are a certain color. I think it might be green. You'd have to look it up on the website. But that's when the artist has gone on. So Kendrick Lamar actually goes on and will write notes on his own lyrics.
Shit.
Technology's got us to a point where we have so much access to the inner workings of artists we love. It's fucking crazy.
I find it inspirational, right? Because it's so, if you want to, you can get on YouTube and really study the craft. You know what I mean? You can you can you can watch, you can find your favorite artist and then watch 1,000 interviews on them and understand like how their brain works. Yeah, that's what I really did. Like, cat's trying to get in. Can you hear the cat?
Yeah.
That's what I did, man. It helped me like really get out of depression. Was like I got obsessed with like Jean Grey or Pharoah Monch and just like learned everything about them, you know. And it gave me examples of ways to exist outside of what I was already exposed to. Yeah, and that's what I think, you know, as far as like promotion and stuff for artists goes, it's like portraying a character that people can buy into is like as important as making like dope music.
Yeah, there's a lot to it. There's a lot to it.
I feel you. Cool, man. Is there anything you want to say before we wrap this shit up? It's been a good chat.
Thanks for having us. We're gonna miss you.
Yeah.
You're leaving.
Yeah.
We only just became friends.
I know, right?
Now you're gone.
Yeah.
Are you leaving because of me?
Yeah. I'm just so intimidated by your skills, man. I just
fuck
can't
off.
compete.
Get out of here.
How the fuck am I supposed to rap in this
Fuck off,
city?
Your shit's dope. I loved your shit. I saw your set the other night. It was sick.
Thanks,
I'm
man.
starting to busk now. And
Yeah, that's true.
When you come back, you gotta come busk.
For real. And come visit Wellington, man.
That I will do.
Yeah.
I've never been to New Zealand.
Yeah, do it,
Yeah,
man.
my girlfriend's Kiwi. Yeah.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Well, she was born there, but she like grew up here.
I swear half the people in Melbourne are New Zealanders.
There's so
eh?
many Kiwis,
All the
yeah.
ambitious New Zealanders moved to
When
Melbourne.
we were, I don't know if I ever told you this, but when I was a teenager and we'd go to Brisbane, we'd listen out for New Zealand accents. When we'd hear like we'd find like a group of Kiwis somewhere, which they're everywhere.
Yeah.
We would follow them, and wherever they went, it would end up being really good music. Like they just,
You just tail them.
yeah, we just tail them. Like it was so fucking weird, or we become friends with them or whatever. But like Kiwis just always knew like where the good music was.
True.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, fucking come to Wellington, man. They'll dig you there, I bet.
bro. Yeah, I'd like that.
Mean. Cool. Thank you, bro.
Thanks for having us.